This series is not meant to be an accurate representation of the current NASCAR Cup Series. This is a fictional series, ran on NR2003 for enjoyment. I hope you enjoy today's race. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the NR2003 simulation season, where today we are going road course racing at Watkins Glen International. The track was repaved in 2016, and ever since then, the track has been very racy. We've had many different winners here at Watkins Glen. Chase Elliott, a notable one, where he got his first win here in Watkins Glen. Some amazing finishes that included Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Marcus Ambrose. Today, will we see another finish like that? We're moments away from finding out and moments away from firing the cars up, so let's take you trackside to get that part of the race going.
Start your engines!
The engine's fired. We're ready to go. Cars rolling off of pit lane now. Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch make up the front row. Couple notables here. Driver that races in sports car mainly, Kobayashi. He will be making his first ever NASCAR Cup Series start today in the Project 91 machine. The last race on the season that this Project 91 team actually has on the schedule. And Kobayashi is going to be in that car this afternoon. This Project 91 has been a pretty cool thing the Trackhouse has done, where they included a third race car. They have two, Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez. But they wanted to include a third race car for these road course races to bring some international talent. Put the spotlight on NASCAR a little bit with having some international talent and drivers from different racing backgrounds. And it's done really well this season. We've seen drivers like Sergio Perez. We've seen Kobayashi here today. We've also seen Helio Castroneves. They've all come in and they've done a decent job in this Project 91 car. And would this be the final start for this Project 91? We're hoping for a good run for that team this afternoon. Another notable, Eric Jones put up a great qualifying lap, qualifying just outside of the top 10 for Eric Jones. So big momentum for that 43 camp going into today's race here at Watkins Glen. Here's Daniel Suarez. Suarez still looking for his second win of the season. But back up the front of the field. Field in the hands of Kurt and Kyle Busch. The Busch brothers will lead the field to green here this afternoon. Somewhat of a cloudy day, but we're going to go racing nonetheless. Green flag going to come out right here. We are racing in Watkins Glen. Down into turn number 1, Chastain putting a little bit of pressure on the back bumper of Kurt Busch as they go through turn 1 into the S's. Very dangerous section of the racetrack. Side by side usually does not work all too well here. Looks like the front 5 will get it figured out, all single file heading down into the bus stop. Kyle Busch has lost a position to Ross Chastain here, looking to put some pressure back on the number 1 machine as they go through the bus stop. Very tricky part of the racetrack, even here to go side by side. In 4th position, we have Eric Almirola. I haven't talked about him all too much this season. Eric has had kind of a quiet season. Hasn't been the type of racing that he's wanted to see. Eric trying to put in the work here to catch Kyle Busch and battle him for that 3rd position. Back a little bit further, we talked about him before the race had started. Eric Jones has moved himself into the 10th position. He's now in the top 10, riding right behind William Byron. A little bit of contact there in the back of the pack I saw. Right around Kobayashi and Chris Buescher. Oh, we got a huge accident down through the S's. Brad Keselowski is on his roof. Huge accident for the 6 machine of Brad Keselowski, your Daytona winner a few weeks ago, and he is upside down. Unreal crash for Brad Keselowski, and it looks like it happened with his former teammate of Austin Cindric. Cindric with a ton of damage on the front of his race car. But Brad Keselowski up and over on his roof. Heavy damage to the front of the 2. And Keselowski with a lot of damage as well. And we've got another car spinning. It's Cody Ware. As they were racing back to the line, Cody Ware, he's going to get a bunch of damage. So a crazy second lap here in Watkins Glen. And we're going to have to take a look and unpack all of this. Unbelievable. We're going to get you a look at the first accident that happened between Brad Keselowski and Austin Cindric. Accident happens up through the S's. I had mentioned it is dangerous to go side by side, and Cindric just gets into the back quarter panel of Brad Keselowski and sends him right around. Take another look at a different angle on that one. You can see they were going up through the S's side by side. Looks like Cindric just floated it out a little bit too much, and the impact with the wall was enough to roll the 6 car. And just the momentum drags that 6 car along the ground upside down. Car never got back on its 4 wheels, so the safety crew is going to have to roll that car back over to get Brad out of that vehicle. On that same lap, we had the 51. Oh, he just got loose and spun right in front of Villeneuve. Get you one more look at that one. You can see here Cody Ware just way too high, almost gets in the wall. He gets loose, and when he comes back across on the nose of Jacques Villeneuve. And then as he tried to straighten it back out, he got back into the door of the 27. So Cody Ware's car, some pretty serious damage all over that one. We also had an incident with Michael McDowell. He gets loose too, comes across the nose of his teammate. Nothing Todd Gillen could do, and he actually ends up down pit road. Luckily, there's no pit boxes on that end of pit road. So McDowell, that also happened on lap number 2, so a very eventful beginning to this race. Lights are off on the top of the pace car. We're going to be getting ready to go back to green flag racing. A very eventful beginning of this race. Brad Keselowski treated and released from the infield care center. We had some pit stops while we were away. That's going to cycle William Byron, Chase Elliott, AJ Allmendinger, and Corey LaJoie to the front of this field. Pace car is going to pull in. Field in the hands of William Byron. He's going to roll down into the restart zone, and he will see the green flag to get back green flag racing here in Watkins Glen. Top 4 skate away as Michael McDowell is actually a lap down, holding up some of these guys behind. Chastain looks like he will get by him. But in front of the field is all William Byron, Chase Elliott. AJ Allmendinger, who won at Sonoma, he's back up at the front of the field here at another road course, so he is dangerous. And really nice to see Corey LaJoie, the Spire Motorsports entry for Corey LaJoie, up here in 4th position. Trying to work out a good finish here out of Watkins Glen. good to see some of the small teams doing well, but he's got a hard charging Ross Chastain right behind him. As Chastain, once he got around the slower car of McDowell, he has been on it these last few laps, or this last half a lap rather, to catch back up to this top four here. Excuse me. Chastain has got a lot of speed in that one machine this afternoon. Another driver, we actually talked about him at the beginning of the race, was Eric Almirola. He's having a good run today. Looking to the inside of Alex Bowman to make that move up through the S's. Looks like Bowman with the inside line on the first part of the S's. Will he clear him? No. Almirola still with the inside. He's going to try to outbrake Alex Bowman going down into the bus stop. You can see the flames coming out of the pipes as they shift down. But it looks like Bowman is going to have the better drive off. And Almirola will fall back behind the 48. Now has to go into defense mode with the 5 of Kyle Larson behind him. So Larson now trying to put the pressure on Eric Almirola. Battle for the points right now. Austin Cindric and Tyler Reddick are right on the cutoff line. A little bit further back here, looking at the 43 of Eric Jones. Another driver we highlighted before the race had even started. But Jones can't make that move on Larson. He'll have to fall back behind. Now closer to Daniel Suarez than he was to Kyle Larson. It's almost like if you can't make that move in the bus stop, that it might not even be worth it, because it puts you in a defense mode, because the car behind you, they're going to have a good exit if you don't. Here comes Eric Jones again, though. Separating himself from the 99, going to try to make another move on Larson. While this is all going on up the front of the field, Ross Chastain is working his way around Corey LaJoie, and he will make that pass. And all Chevy top 5 here at the Glen. And all the racing back there. Byron loves to see it. He has now extended the lead to almost a second over teammate Chase Elliott. Elliott, last week's winner in Homestead, comes here to one of his favorite racetracks, the track he got his first win at. Hoping for 2 for 2. Go back-to-back with wins, one at Homestead, one here today, but he's going to have to get through this 24 of William Byron if he wants to make that happen. See what the gap is this time by. Byron keeps it about the same. 0.8 of a second. Kobayashi trying to make a move on the 55 of J.J. Yalin. Kobayashi has a long resume when it comes to racing, and these cars are probably the most similar to what he drives. These are NASCAR stock cars, but the cars drive somewhat more like sports cars this year. Very similar in the way the tires are. Just the interior of the race car having that digital mirror. Kobayashi is able to translate some of his experience from sports car racing here to NASCAR today. But like anything, when you get thrown into the fire, you only get a limited amount of practice That's one thing with this Project 91 is these drivers that have come into it have not had much practice or experience in the NASCAR Cup Series race cars. So a totally new experience for every driver that has come through this Project 91 program. Caught Glen battling with one of his best friends, Harrison Burton. Harrison at Homestead had a fantastic run. Another road course specialist, Joey Hand. He's jumped into 15 for the week. Joey Hand, a lot of experience in road course racing as well. Kyle Busch started second on the day today, but right now Kyle running all the way back in the 21st position. A few Joe Gibbs teammates and Toyotas surrounding him. He's got Bell behind him. And then one car separates Hamlin and Bubba Wallace. Wallace, of course, not a Joe Gibbs car, but a Toyota. A couple of Penske teammates battling here. Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney. The only two Penske cars competitive today, as Austin Cindric was involved in that early incident with Brad Keselowski. The lead has about stayed the same. William Byron, 0.8 of a second over Chase Elliott. The race has finally settled down a little bit after that wild second lap that we had here. Less than 10 laps to go now. William Byron looking for his first win of the season here today. Byron has struggled. He's the only Hendrick Motorsports car to not have a win. And that is never a good feeling as a driver, as a team. When you see your teammates winning and you're not, you have to wonder what the problem is, what the matter is. Chase Elliott with 2 wins, Kyle Larson with 1 win, and Alex Bowman with 3. So 6 wins between his teammates and 0 for William Byron. Could today be the day that he finally breaks through and gets that win that he's been looking for? The speed has been there. Situations that he's been put in is why he hasn't gotten a win. Kurt Busch, our pole sitter, right now running in the 6th position, right behind Corey LaJoie. The group of 4 cars here: LaJoie, Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman, and Eric Almirola. Can't help but think the 7 car might be holding them up just a little bit, because every lap the top 4 separate themselves a little bit more from this pack of 4. Funny the way the race has actually played out. You have a front 4, you have a gap, you have 4 more, then you have a group of 3, which is led by Kyle Larson. But even here, it looks like Kevin Harvick, he's going to be looking to join this. Can't say enough about the 43. Top 10 has struggled a lot this season, lacked the speed at a lot of places we went to. But today, qualified well and has been able to translate this to a pretty decent run. But he's got to hold off Daniel Suarez, who's a hungry driver. And a 2-time winner this season, Kevin Harvick, who you can never count him out. Harvick's super good pretty much anywhere we go. 2 wins this season. One of them was at Martinsville early on in the season. We go back there later on in the season. Well, we have a moment. We're going to take a quick look at the points of how they stand. It is coming down to the end of the season. You have to be in that top 14. If you're not, you will not race for a championship. And we've got a couple cars coming to pit road. The top 3 cars and Corey LaJoie will come to pit road. And keep in mind, these are the cars that did not pit earlier. They were hoping for a caution where it would force everybody to pit. So AJ Allmendinger, he's getting tires put on his machine. The Napa Chevrolet of Chase Elliott. Looks like 2 tire stops for all of them. They will come out looking like pretty much exactly where they were running minus Corey LaJoie. LaJoie was behind Ross Chastain. Chastain obviously did not pit here. Have to see how this plays out. The rest of the field did pit earlier. Do they have enough fuel? Elliott with a decent pit stop. He actually put some time between him and Allmendinger, but the best pit stop out of all of them was this 24 car. He is way out ahead of Chase Elliott now. But the question still remains, does the rest of the field have to pit? Here comes Kamui Kobayashi. One thing we're going to have to note here is this driver, not a lot of practice with pitting. So the 91 machine will pull his car down into his pit box. And he will change, looking like left side tires only. Look at Austin Cindric. Actually had to rip the whole front bumper off that car after the contact with Brad Keselowski in order to keep that car out on the racetrack. Every point's so valuable, especially where he is right now in the playoff standings. Austin Cindric is right on that cutoff line. So this is going to hurt today. A bad finish like this could put you out. And as they run, it will. Because another driver that he's racing for that cutoff position is Tyler Reddick. Here comes the rest of the field. Ross Chastain, he's going to come down to his pit stall. Big lead on Kyle Larson. But the question is, where is he going to come out in relation to William Byron, Chase Elliott, AJ Allmendinger? You'll see them crest the hill here in a moment. Here they come. And the caution flag has waved. And this is going to change everything. Caution flag on the racetrack. This is going to change it all. We've got a car off in the gravel. Can't tell who it is quite yet. It is Kyle Busch. Oh. And then a contact with the wall with Kyle. So Kyle Busch off in the gravel. Broken right front suspension, could not steer the car, and ended up making contact with the wall because of that damage to the right front suspension. The tire was kicked out to the right, and unfortunately when he tried to get out of that grass, it just took him right to the wall because of that broken suspension. So Kyle Busch on pit lane now, gonna have to work on trying to get that car repaired because he's another guy who is in the points but is going to have a detrimental day here if he can't get back onto the racetrack. And we will take a look at what happened to Kyle here in a moment. And Kyle Busch is not going to be happy. Some contact with BJ McLeod. He spins him down into the gravel. And if you know Kyle Busch, you know that he's not going to be happy about that. See that BJ goes to make a move on Kyle. I think Kyle was also thinking he had to get around this 51 because he was slow and didn't realize that the 78 actually had a run. And he just spun him out and put him in the gravel. So the 18 car, that's going to hurt his points today. We're back live here. The caution has really screwed some things up here, as the 1 car is being shown as the leader, 5 car is being shown as second. When this cycles, I'll be curious to see. Caution happened at the worst possible time because pit stops were underway. So this will screw it up. As you can see on the top left, Chastain is actually being shown as the leader. But we will have to see once this updates here. As you can see, there's Chastain there. He's being shown as leading the race, but I'm not sure if that is 110% accurate. Lights are still on the pace car as NASCAR's trying to figure this out. That is one thing that is difficult about the timing and scoring, is when pit stops are underway. When pit stops are underway and a caution comes out, some guys are on pit lane, some guys are not. So it creates a mess. But we will see once this updates who the leader is going to be. Lights still on the pace car. Race actually may end under caution here, what we're being told, what we're hearing on race control. So maybe for the second time this season, a race is going to end under caution. First time was Daytona when Keselowski won. And this could be another one. We'll have to see when they cross the line this time what timing and scoring updates it as. Because technically William Byron, I think, crossed the line. Well, we're going to see here. This is going to tell it all. We're going to be showing the white flag. The race will end under caution. William Byron not being shown as the leader on timing and scoring. In a wild Watkins Glen race, Ross Chastain is being shown your leader. The cars have taken the white flag. The race will end under caution, with Ross Chastain as your winner here in Watkins Glen. And the checkered flag will be displayed to Ross Chastain, the #1 machine from Trackhouse Racing. Chastain wins in Watkins Glen. Kyle Larson second, Daniel Suarez third, Kevin Harvick fourth, and a good run for the 41 of Cole Custer. Finishes 5th. A lot of guys we didn't talk about too much today, but pit strategy worked out, and the timing of the caution helped them as well. Well, Ross Chastain is your winner today in Watkins Glen. And Ross Chastain, he's going to bring his car down to turn #1. A late race caution ended the race under caution, but Ross Chastain was the one that was out in front when the caution did fly. Chastain, his 2nd win of the season. 3rd for Trackhouse. And this one coming at a road course for Ross Chastain. Strategy played out well for the 1 car, the 1 team today, besting Kyle Larson at a track where Larson won last year But this time, it's the 1 car and Ross Chastain that are going to be taking a trip to Watkins Glen Victory Lane. Congratulations to Chastain, Trackhouse, and the 1 team on a fantastic race. Taking a look at the finishing order, the 1 car, your winner, Larson in 2nd. Good run for both of those race cars. Larson and Chastain both did run up the front of the field all day long. It came down to pit strategy here at the end and an untimely caution with Kyle Busch, who ultimately retired from the race, so will receive barely any points to help him in his quest to get in the playoffs. He was secure in a spot, but this is going to put a little bit more pressure on, especially with the number of races we have left. The rest of the results will be shown now. It was a wild day that had a lot of action. We saw Brad Keselowski flip over, and we have seen in that spot on the racetrack that there has been cars roll over. One of the ones I think about is the 00 a few years back. Taking a look at the schedule, we are off to Bristol for the Bristol night race, so if there's any scores to be settled, I think next week is going to be the best opportunity for some of these guys to settle their scores after today. I know that Kyle Busch will not be happy with BJ McLeod, so we'll just have to see how that plays out next week at Bristol for the Bristol night race. Finally, we're going to take a look at the point standings. As I had stated earlier, detrimental for the 2 of Austin Cindric not being able to close out a good run today. That's going to hurt him, and he's going to have to put in some extra work here to try to get back to playoff form here. Even Chase Elliott, he was barely over the cutoff line. Well, I say barely, but the points are so tight. You know, one bad run or a bad finish when you're within 4 spots of that cutoff line can really put some pressure on you. But that's going to wrap it up for us today here in Watkins Glen. I thank you all for watching the NR2003 simulation season. We will catch you in the next one for the Bristol night race next week.